When traveling to a new place, first thing you do is book accommodation. It's important to consider factors like location, price, amenities, and so on. But sometimes unpredictable things get in the way of your plans and enjoyment of the place you stay.
In today's video, we'll be sharing our experience with some of the issues we had with our accommodation. We'll also be sharing useful tips on how to get the best out of any situation. Let's roll! Hi, we're Nata and Stepa, and we talk about smart travel.
In our recent trip to Ottawa, we had a bit of an issue with our hotel. Actually, it became a pretty big issue by the end, but you can decide for yourself. So we booked this hotel called Best Western Plus Gatineau Hotel. Gatineau is right across the bridge from Ottawa, not too far from downtown. And pricing on Quebec side is more reasonable comparing to Ottawa side. So it made sense. The caveat was that we arrived later in the day because we were visiting the Nordic spa. See our video about one day in Ottawa to learn about our spa experience. We did call ahead of time and notified the hotel that we will be coming later, and they confirmed that it was no problem. We learned later that it actually was. When we arrived at the hotel around 11 p.m., we checked in without any issues and came up to our room. Once we turned on the light, we realized the room wasn't clean after previous guests, the bed sheets were not changed, there were towels on the floor, we could not stay in that room. We went down to reception and were told that the cleaning personnel is already gone for the day and that they have only 2 rooms left, the one that doesn't have a proper lock and the other one without the TV. Can you imagine a room with a lock that can be opened with the master key that only the manager has? Great for safety. And for the TV, funny enough, we don't watch TV at home, but when we travel, we like to relax in the hotel room while watching renovation shows, and we were really looking forward to it this time. To say the least, none of these options worked for us and the reception wasn't trying to help. We spent several hours on the phone with the Booking.com customer service and in the end decided to move to a different hotel. By this time it was already past 2 a.m. We were tired and super frustrated. Booking.com agreed to cover the difference for the hotel that we chose and we moved to Marriott in downtown Ottawa. Very annoying to waste so much time and especially after such a great relaxing day in spa. But the issue got resolved and we could finally rest and recharge for the upcoming day of the city exploration.
Another unfortunate situation we had was with a hotel in Detroit. This was our first time in the city and we wanted to stay in a central area. By the way, check out our 2 videos from this trip. So we booked a hotel through Expedia that matched our budget and location preference. The hotel was called Mint House. We called them ahead of time and asked if we can come earlier to leave our luggage in the storage unit. And that is how we figured out there was no physical reception in this house and the check-in process is done online. At the same time, the instructions on how to access the room have not been sent to us ahead of time, only 1 hour before the check-in time. So when we were arriving, we couldn't even enter the building. It was in February and it was super cold outside. We were given a name to enter to a buzzer and we quickly found out that it was not even on the list. We were on the phone with tech support trying to get the information, but it was not a direct line. It was a general phone number across all of North America. Every time we called, we talked to a different agent and we had to repeat our story again and again. But it was just the beginning. Once someone let us in the building and we finally got into our room, we realized there was a heavy construction happening on our floor. The construction noise was so heavy, the vibration from jackhammer was impossible to ignore. Moreover, the room was not properly cleaned, and when I tried to get a coffee to shake off the situation, I found a hair in a coffee cup. Then we realized that 50% of the mugs were not clean as well, with lipstick stains on them.
And I'm drinking water from one cup because
Cheers!
mugs have hair and
Since we booked this room through Expedia, they managed to get us into another hotel, even though it took us about 2 hours on the phone being with their support to arrange this.
When we stayed in Mexico, we moved around 13 times. We lived in condos, apartments, villas, hotels, and so on. Our last stay was in Colonia Centro in Mexico City, and we rented an apartment in a newly built condo. We were arriving late at night as our plane landed after 11 p.m. So we got to a place after midnight. Tired after our travels and anticipating a busy workday next day, all we wanted to do was to get to bed and have a good night's sleep. But we quickly found out that the place was not properly cleaned. There was hair and cat fur on the bed sheets, there was garbage in the bins and dirt in the sink. We connected with the host, but all he could say was, "There is nothing I can do this time, it's late, let's talk tomorrow." We spent an hour on the phone with Airbnb and they agreed to compensate us one night stay in a hotel and would make sure the host properly cleans the apartment so that we could move in the next day. As we tried to book a hotel from booking.com, we realized that if you try to get a room for tonight, but it's already past midnight, there is no way to do it through the app. It automatically bounces you to the next day. So we had to manually dial in the phone numbers and check if they had availability for tonight. Mind you, it's already 2 a.m., we're exhausted and don't know the city that well to figure out which area is safe to stay and which is not. At this point, we were on our own, neither host nor Airbnb were helping us. We ended up booking a hotel nearby over the phone and spent the night there. The next day, we moved into our apartment and spent the next months in it. Host brought us a cleaning crew and we had to stop by 2 times that day to point out where the issues were, like they didn't know it. The apartment was okay, but there were several issues here and there. But the biggest one was the host. We even jokingly called him our little failure host. Communication was off, he didn't really try to help us, but rather blame us for asking too much. For example, we pointed out the mess we found the first night, he said that everyone has different standards. And when we had an issue with the internet, he simply said, "Get used to it, you're in a third world country." And also refused to help us because it was Saturday and his day off, and we were presumably bugging him too much.
And of course, your favorite hotel-related topic, drumroll, bed bugs. Once in a while, we have longer road trips and decide to stay overnight in a motel or hotel along the route so that we can rest and continue our trip in the morning. Next day after such stay in London, Ontario, let us know in the comments if you want to learn the name of this hotel and stay away from it. I noticed some red itchy dots on my body. It was bedbugs bites. The hotel was booked through booking.com. We submitted a claim. It took them about 2 weeks to process, but they did compensate us fully for the stay. Plus, they did cover the receipt from pharmacy for the antihistamine medication. We also insisted on them doing an inspection and pest control treatment in the hotel.
Here's what we learned from our experiences. It is important which service or platform you use to book your accommodation. We found that booking.com tends to compensate the difference if there is an issue with accommodation, but you have to arrange everything yourself. Similar with Airbnb, they will compensate additional costs, but they won't be looking for any replacements for you. In rare cases, they may provide you a credit, for example, if your host canceled right before your stay and you need to book something fast and their prices have already gone up. Expedia had the best support and provided replacement hotels themselves. We didn't have to look for it or call the reception about availability. All we had to do was show up and reception already had our information and booking covered.
Always send a message to a potential host on Airbnb, even if you don't have any questions. This is a simple screening process that will help you identify strange behavior and avoid potential issues during your stay.
Be mindful about booking the stay for the current night. Most likely, online service will automatically move your stay to the next day. So make sure to check all the dates before confirming the booking. Most likely, you will have to call the hotel yourself, so make sure you have a local connection, eSIM access or Wi-Fi, something like this.
Check location of your accommodation. It doesn't always appear to be as good as in pictures. We always check Google Maps Street View to get a better idea of the surrounding area. Because sometimes a building is new and clean, but the area around it is under construction or next to a busy street and so on.
And finally, don't feel bad for standing up for yourself. Do call support line for the services you used when booking your stay. At the end of the day, it is in their interest to provide a good quality service to you. And you have every right to demand what was promised to you and what you paid for. Always have a quick access to your booking confirmations and reference numbers, as they can be handy in case you need to file a complaint.
Another useful tip is to always check reviews on Airbnb and booking.com, but especially on Airbnb, because sometimes there are new properties without any reviews and it can get sketchy. And that's it from us for today. Thank you for staying with us till the end of this video, and we hope it helped you learn some useful tips on how to handle unpleasant situations during your travel. And remember, it can happen to anyone. Try to make the best out of it and don't let it ruin your adventures.
Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thank you for watching. Until next time.